everyone, welcome to a new video and series on the channel. I have hinted at this, that I've been wanting to do a new series and I was going to start it in June, and here we are starting it finally. So I have been watching a lot of Instagram reels. I've seen some other content here on YouTube of the most amazing spreads in journals with book reviews, and I don't personally put book reviews in my reading journal. I'm an art reviewer. I read a lot of books, and I just feel like if I'm putting those reviews in multiple different places, the last place I want to do is put it in a reading journal. It's a lot of work, and not gonna lie, I have really bad hands, so holding a pen for too long doesn't always inspire me to do that. I would rather do other things instead. So here we are, coming up with a solution to that big need that I have inside of me, sorry, not niche, need, of wanting to join in and do these really amazing spreads, but not necessarily doing reviews. It's interesting though, because the content that you're going to see in this first video of the series does end up being quite handwritten heavy, but I was very excited. I won't be doing 2-page spreads all the time, but I did want to have a good go at the first one. Here we are on the cover page here. I've named this reading journal Books I've Loved because I don't want to put book reviews. It's not a review. It's just a place to look back on all the books that I've genuinely enjoyed and the bits about those books that I enjoyed. So the quotes, the dialogue, something that might have just stuck out, a moment in time where in a narration is just perfect. It's going in this book. And I decided that even though we're in the mid part of 2025, I would go straight back to the start of the year because I wanted to mark down in this book all my 4.5 and 5-star reads because they are the books that I loved, and I wanted to make sure they were all in here. So we're going to go right back to January on our first spread that we put into this. But right now we're working on that cover page, and I decided to grab some scrap decorative paper. I think it came from my Kaiser Craft Antiques paper pad that I use a lot, and stuck that down for the majority of the page. I did end up making a mistake. I should have cut the bottom off a little bit more because I've stuck it onto the front cover, so it was not like a page where I could lift it up and get as close as possible. You'll see where I struggle soon. And then I've gone ahead with some decorative washi tape that I have and stuck that down the side. I actually haven't used this sunflower pack at all. I think my mum got it for me from Temu. She used to love shopping on Temu a lot, so I like to use up the things that she did buy me. And then we are also going to be using these watercolors here that you can see. I absolutely love this little palette. They are so tiny. When I very first saw them, I thought, this is not what I paid for. And then when you actually use them, like you can see I swatched them, I fell in love. These sparkle so much. I'm like absolutely in love with these colors, and some of them actually don't look the same as what's in the palette, so that's why it's good to have that little swatch guide above it. And I've just used that to color in the header that I've used the font Black Ship for, one of my favorite boxy headers, fonts. And yeah, this page is almost done. I'm just going to stick some die cuts down from a heritage pack that I have in a moment and put the starting sort of year date on the front. You'll see in a minute when I start to fiddle around with getting the final look to this page done that it isn't as easy as I would like, but it is simple. I had a lot of fun doing the header, the books I loved. I'm wondering if I should have put books I loved rather than I've loved, but I've been at the dentist today. I've had some medication and some drugs inserted into my mouth, and it has been, it's like you're always wearing off a little bit weirdly, right? So perhaps that's why I put I've and not I, but it's all right. I can absolutely live with that. And then, yeah, like I've got these 2 little die cuts that I got from that heritage die cut pack. These are ancient. I don't think you could ever get them again. They were sold at a local shop as well. And then I am going to basically be done with this front cover and flip into the most boring page that will hopefully be in this journal. But I thought that it would be really necessary to have that there. So if you're new here on the channel, I already have 2 journals for reading. I dedicate this entire channel to my reading, and there may be the odd occasion where I'll do something different from reading content, but the majority is reading content. And I have a main reading journal for each year, so I've got my 2025 reading journal. I also have a reading data journal, and I thought that would be enough. Technically, I have another journal that I use to track in daily, messily, so then I can keep my main journal nice and neat, because I am a bit of a perfectionist. You wouldn't tell that by some of the mistakes that I make in this video, but I am. And so that's been really great, and I thought that would be where we leave it, but alas, we now have this third or fourth, whichever way you want to see it, journal in the lineup, and I'm actually really excited for it. I have been wanting to do this for the longest time. I actually started one a year ago, I think, and I did 1 page in it, so we're going to make sure that that does not happen and continue on. I've already printed out all the covers for the books that we need to catch up on. We're going to do the first page together, like I mentioned, and I'm really hopeful that this little new segment to the channel will be fun for you all. I'm also working on something much bigger that I'm hopeful that I can get all filmed and out at a good time before the new year even is on the horizon. It is a highly requested series, so fingers crossed I can do it. I will be starting on it sooner rather than later, but I wanted to get this series sort of out on the channel first, and it's also a really good place for me to start talking about the books that I'm reading this year, because that's the one thing that I have been wanting to do all year, and then I didn't start at the start of the year, so then I felt weird doing it every other month, which is reading updates. I've also been toying with the idea of if I'm confident enough to star in those. I've always just hidden behind the camera. I'm much more comfortable that way. But I have been toying with that idea, and because I just faffed around with that for so long, it's never eventuated. So this gives me a really good opportunity to at least talk to you about the books that I've really enjoyed so far in 2025. We are almost finished with the most boring index page you've ever seen. I wanted to keep it really simple, and I am going to be numbering every single page so I know where we are in the journal. And just like that, we're onto a brand new page, and the first book for this series is going in. I will preface this with, we all know that my scrapbooking skills, working on the fly, are not great. I always start my monthly reading journals fully prepared. So I have everything printed out. I have almost everything penciled in. You've seen it if you've been around for a while. Everything's done before the camera goes on, because I have this weird thing, like as soon as the camera goes on, it's like my anxiety ricochets or like ratchets up, sorry I should say, and I just get like in this little zone where I've like, if anything goes wrong, I'm going to get a bit flustered. So doing this on camera will be good for me. It'll be good practice to not be such a perfectionist. Also, I just like, it's almost like my brain wasn't working. I was trying to decide if I wanted to do just 1 page, because that was kind of the general idea, that I would do 1 page per book, but for the books that I really loved, I would do 2 pages. But I guess I was excited. I also knew that I wanted to include a really big quote, so I went with 2 pages. So all the equipment that I use in this video will be linked below. A lot of the stuff is admittedly from Temu. I'm trying to move away from that a little bit, but I have a lot of stuff that has been accumulated over the last couple of years from there, and I want to use it. It's sitting there not being used, so I unfortunately cannot link a lot of things or suggest a lot of things, but where I can, I will definitely. I've also had a recent comment about those scissors that I use, those ones with the orange handles, and I just want to let you know that I'll have them linked in my videos from now on, just because it's not the first time and I keep forgetting to add them. So they are the Fiskars Softouch micro tip scissors, I think that's what they're called. I think you can get them on Amazon quite easily. I got mine from the local craft and office store here in New Zealand, and I absolutely love them. I was put onto them by another YouTuber, Jashi Corin. I've mentioned her many a time, and I just was obsessed with watching her use them, so ended up getting a pair and would never go back to another pair of scissors again for like really detailed work, getting in there and cutting off those edges. They are the best, and whenever I can't find them on my desk I get very sad, so I always try to keep them as close as possible. So the book that we're putting in is The Lily of Ludgate Hill by Mimi Matthews. This is book 3 in the Bells of London series. It was my first 5-star read of the year, and I absolutely enjoy this series a great deal. I listened to it as an audiobook, and I really enjoyed doing so. I have given every single book in the series 5 stars so far. I'm not huge on historical romance because there are elements to those stories that I don't necessarily agree with. I know they fit the time period, but I struggle with when the main male character just won't listen to her saying no at times, especially in the more intimate scenes. So I find Mimi Matthews provides a better safe haven for someone like me who doesn't personally enjoy that patriarchal kind of control over women so much. Not to say that this book isn't historically accurate. She has quite a lot of research that goes into her storylines. They are very, very well written, and I really enjoy them. This one was about Anne and Hart. They were childhood besties. They are second chance romance storyline, and I just really enjoyed their story a great deal. It was very wholesome at times, very eye-opening to the struggles that can come with identity and the loss of a family member, and how that takes you out of society, especially if you're a woman and you've lost the male heir in your family. It can put a lot of pressure on you. So it was really interesting to see so many issues and topics being explored during this, whilst also creating a really wholesome and influentially written historical romance. I really find that Matthews gives over really vulnerable moments, but also empowering lines and stuff. Sorry, I'm a little bit tongue twisted. But yeah, I really enjoy a lot of her quotes, and you'll see that on this page as I'm writing them down now, that a lot of them are a bit more towards the standards in society rather than like full-on romantic moments. Of course, I've added some of them in, but yeah, I really like quite a few of them. The top one especially, when women banded together, they could make empires tremble. It's one of my favourite lines from the series. So I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. I stuck down the cover down the bottom. I have unfortunately printed out all the covers. I think I mentioned that before, but they're all quite small. So they are definitely not taking up as much space, but it'll be good on pages where I only do one page per book. And I just put down the title of the series, the day that I finished it, with that little date stamp, and a very wonkily done 5-star stamp as well. And then I've just put down quotes. So I think I end up adding about 5 or 6 quotes. So I really quite enjoyed checking these quotes out again and choosing which ones I wanted to use. Obviously, because it's an audiobook, I don't have a physical copy, so it is going to be interesting when we get to some where it's an audiobook and I haven't jotted them down, or I go to check on like Goodreads or something and they don't have a great deal of quotes. That'll be interesting for me, something to worry about later on, because most of them will be in the book. But yeah, really, really happy with how this all came together. Considering I'm not someone who likes to work on the fly like this, like I mentioned before, very structured person, like to have everything sorted and mapped out before I even put a pen on the paper, because I know I'm going to make a mistake. And yeah, there's a lot of room for improvement on this page here, but I am happy that I got all my quotes out on the page. They all fitted in nicely. My handwriting is my normal handwriting. I didn't try to fix anything and make it special, especially when I was using markers for some of the bigger quotes. I didn't think it would work. But I am happy that I did go ahead and print out the header of the book and stick that in the way that I did. I think it looks really pretty. And yeah, please let me know what you think of this page, and the idea of doing a quotes based journal as opposed to reviews. I totally am in awe of those people who can do like a little review page. Absolutely love that for you, and love looking at them like this is what has inspired this journal. But yeah, like I mentioned, it's just not for me because I see reviews all the time, and if anything, I get really burned out from reviewing. So it's nice to be able to look at quotes instead. And I've been experimenting this month in June in my reading journal with a quotes page, and I'm really enjoying it. So on that quotes page, I'm just simply putting down the first quote of every book. Even though I started one in May, I put the first page, the quote on the first page down in the spread as well, because I read it this month. And I just finished that book actually, and it will be in this journal at a much later date. I'm not sure if I'll be filming every single setup. I would like to, especially for real content, which is why this video is so zoomed out. So you don't get like a close-up on all the words, because I had to do it for a reel. But until we next meet, I hope you have fun reading or journaling, and let me know what you thought of this video, and I'll see you sometime very, very soon in another video. Thank you so much. Bye everyone.